welcome to the new episode of the Dad Voice Podcast.
Yeah, we're going to talk about dad stuff.
Dad stuff.
Probably.
Hopefully. By the time this comes out, we'll probably already have a couple of dad blasts out, but if you haven't yet, check out our new segment. We decided to do a more condensed version of the podcast and put it in 10 to 15-ish minute format, maybe bleed into 20. But what we wanted to do is because we noticed that we derail a lot on current events. So instead of us derailing and losing sight of the subjects that we want to cover in our longer form episodes, we decided to do Dad Blasts. And I'm going to release the audio for those.
We're being forced to hack ourselves.
We are. The dad hacking of dads, you know. But by the way, I'm Cole.
I'm Phil.
And today we are going to talk about how to negotiate with toddlers.
Toddlerists.
And
Terrorlers. Toddlers.
The Al-Qaeda you know as your toddler.
Yes. Negotiating with toddlers because you have to.
Yeah, and it's funny because like we were just kind of like browsing some ideas. We perused the internet and stuff like that, and we both just kind of realized like this is a real thing.
And I thought about it the other day because I was bargaining with my own toddler, and I was like, I'm 10 times her size. Why am I negotiating with her right now?
What's funny is I feel like you're going to have actually more input on this because your toddler can speak. My toddler cannot, so it is more of a physical negotiation.
Y'all have psychic negotiations? You're just like...
It's like trying to deal with an animal.
Yeah.
Because you have to read their body language and you have to like understand like...
He's high in the hackles right now.
you can see him bristling and you're like, oh shit, here we go. But no, I think that probably the general age group that we fit into has a toddler or recently exited toddler.
You've been around
phase,
that zone recently.
And a lot of you will either be able to relate or can maybe use some of the advice that we provide.
Yeah. And
way,
we're good for some helpful advice, all right? It's not just a joke.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've continuously...
I'm good. Yeah, and I'll just start by saying toddlers are not good faith negotiators in the first place, so you do have to treat them like terrorists.
They really are not, and...
You think they're considering what you want?
No.
Do you think that's ever crossed a toddler's mind, is what you want? No, they're 100% self-driven, so that's how you got to start. You have to start it as conflict right off the bat. I think that's good parenting from what I've heard.
It's crazy how even when I feel like I've won a negotiation with my toddler, I've actually all I've managed to do is lose peacefully.
Yeah.
I didn't win the negotiation. I just lost in a way that makes me not want to pull my hair out. And I'm okay with that because let's preface this by saying your toddlers are these tiny people that are just figuring out how the world works. They don't have negotiation skills. They don't have communication skills.
But they can occasionally think like people. In random spurts. So that's why you got to always treat them like they are a people.
And by the way, anybody who's got a toddler at home, like my current toddler, my first one, when he was a toddler, he was a peaceful angel and a monk, and he was an outlier, I think, for toddlers in general. This one is the new guy is one of the most sweet kids ever, and I love him, and he's actually kind of like, right now he's a daddy's boy. Like, he's in his daddy's boy phase. And so I get like a lot of his love and attention. But then on the other side of that, because one, I work from home, so I see him the most. And two, because he's been very much focused on dad lately, I have gotten the ass end of all that as well. And so like...
He's comfortable to share his tantrums with you. That's sweet.
You know, he is. And... having a child like that, by the way, is one of the most humbling experiences I will ever have. And the reason I say that is because for me, like, I went through life being bigger than everyone and just having a generally tough appearance.
He's mopping your old ass up and down the court.
I never had to ever worry about
He's like, Dad, you weren't as young as you were when you had the first one.
And listen, I'm gonna take a real quick pause to touch on that, because last night when we're filming this and recording this, last night I went to see my favorite band ever. My wife, Lauren, she got me tickets to see Bayside on their Bayside.
New shirt alert.
Yeah, I got my new shirt.
I know you were wearing that to show off. I was happy for you.
I had to flex my merch, but no, Bayside is my favorite band of all time. The most important band to me, and my other favorite band of all time, most important band, is the Acacia Strain. Very different bands, but got to see Bayside last night for the 25-year tour of their existence.
Wow.
They started in 2000, which they openly acknowledged. Like Anthony Ranieri, their singer and guitar player, he was like, glad to have y'all here. Remember ice packs and Bengay when you get home. And I was like, he understands that we've all aged with him. So thanks for at least acknowledging that. But man, all I did,
for some reason, I thought you were about to say they acknowledged that they started their band before 9/11, and they were going to say we were playing an event that day, just to clear up any questions about our involvement in 9/11.
We're talking about 9/11.
Enjoy our merch.
So, went to the show last night, and keep in mind, for years in my 20s, I'd say from 18 to 28 was probably the last time I actually played a real show. Maybe not 20. I think I did a couple years ago. So I've done it in my 30s, but I promise you it was a long recovery road. But I used to play shows night after night after night, back to back, and dancing around, moshing. I was part of the hardcore and metal scene. Movement is a big thing, and I'm a big guy, but I'll move where I can.
Yeah.
And I would be sore.
He could throw it in a circle.
Yeah, that's right. You wake up sore. Last night, I stood for 2.5, 3 hours on a concrete floor, and I thought I was going to have to go to the fucking hospital this morning. I didn't move. I didn't dance.
Yeah, you were surprisingly late in responding this morning. Yeah. I was like, I know he's not feeling good. No. It doesn't matter what he did there. He could have done nothing at that concert. Just the fact that you're existing and standing for 2 hours is... Do that at home.
The concrete floor, though. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Watch football today or whenever... and stand up.
Just do it standing.
Is that enjoyable? No.
Right. I like to sit on my ass.
Yeah.
And on the concrete floor in the same spot, because you can't, it was packed. Okay?
Oh, concrete, too.
Wall to wall.
That's too flat of a surface.
Yeah, and I don't know the science behind that. All I know is it fucking sucks. And I woke up.
It's all the science you need to know.
And this morning I was just, hurting. And, of course, and this is why I kicked off on that little tangent there. Of course, first thing, my toddler, who is, by the way, weighs about 5 or 10 pounds less than my 8-year-old, and he'll be 3 in October. He wants me to pick his ass up, which is fine. I can easily handle 40 pounds. Okay. That being said, my body was like, please don't do this right now. Just let's not hold anything except
tell him no.
Pack and tell him no. And all I did
reject the child. The hooded brain.
Reject the boy. That's my knees.
Reject the boy.
Reject him.
Your son's just smiling, and he has no idea you're having that little mental episode where it's just
demons.
Reject him.
These demons, kick the child. But it's my joints.
That's a good way to start his day. Hit him with a no right off the bat. Let him know how future negotiations will go.
I didn't even say no. I said, give me 1 second, buddy. And he goes, ah!
That's basically no for them.
Starts cranking.
Their lives are so short so far that they experience time differently. So if you say, I can do it later, they're like, it's a year from now.
Later? What do you mean 5 minutes? I'll be dead by then.
That's another thing to consider with negotiating with children. They don't understand time.
They don't my 8-year-old has no concept of time. He'll be like, when is Christmas? And I'll be like, in a few months. And then he'll be like, oh, that's so long. And then he'll be like, when can I play video games? And I'll be like, I have 30 minutes left of this TV show. And he's like, oh my God, that's the longest time ever. That's like 300
hours.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's 30 minutes.
You could complete the whole game doing that time, Dad.
Yeah, and I was like, and I'll have to explain to him, I'm like, because I think we talked about this in another episode, but like I explained it to him in episodes of SpongeBob. I think you said your parents used to do that.
They did that with episodes of Pokemon in the car. Yeah. They'd be like, we'll be there in 3 episodes.
Yeah, and so I was like, it's 1 episode of SpongeBob. That's how much time I need you to
He's like, with commercials or without?
And I have to tell him that we have the ad plan because I'm not spending the extra $5 a month, so with commercials.
How come we can't afford the extra $5 a month?
Because the economy is in shambles. Get the fuck out
What's an economy?
By the way, a perfect simulation of how a conversation goes with a toddler who can speak or with an 8-year-old that can speak.
My daughter will ask me what things are that she already knows that I know, and she knows she knows. I don't know if she's testing me or what. She'll be like, what's this? I'm like, that's SpongeBob. She's like, who's this? I'm like, it's Patrick. And she's just trying to make sure I'm not senile or something.
She's just testing. She's like, was he lying before?
She's testing to see how far she can gaslight me. Which is another thing toddlers will do when you negotiate with them. They're smart. They'll make you believe you didn't say something before. And my daughter, did I talk about how she signs more? But recently she was signing more, but I wasn't paying attention. And then out of the corner of my ear, I hear, I'm signing more. And I was like, okay, damn, I'm coming.
You could have just said more.
Yeah. She was like, I'm signing more.
And
she's like, listen to me.
In speech therapy, more is one that we've been focusing on because that's I guess like a key term.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Communicate, but like
you'd be surprised how much they use it.
And he has started to do this number, and he's like a little shy about it. So he'll be like, and then I won't see it. And then he'll come and throw his snack bowl at me, and he's like, I said more.
I'm signing more. I'm signing more.
But he can't say I'm signing more, so he's just like, and it's just some primal grunt from the inner depths of his being.
Then you turn around, and he's like...
Yeah, and he, like, you'll look at him, and then I'll ask him, I'll be like, oh, did you want more? And he'll be like,
just the first time he learns to talk is him being really sarcastic. He's like, no, Daddy, I wanted less. You jackhole.
And a lot of people have said...
Run me my check, motherfucker.
A lot of people have said that might just be the direction that this takes with him, is that he just kind of will, at some point, just be like, yeah, I'm done not talking.
As long as it's in a direction of him talking, hey, whatever. Whatever works.
Yeah.
What's the motto? It works if you work it.
Small victories, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he has zero negotiation skills. Like, he doesn't understand that when I tell him Daddy's working and it'll be a minute before I get you your 7th bowl of chips before 10 a.m. that
it sounds like he's got great negotiating skills. You just don't realize it. He had 7 bowls of chips. How'd that happen?
Well, I started keeping the bag beside me on my desk so I can just grab it and fill and keep going. But I'm like, Daddy's on a call, and I have to like mute myself in between speaking, because if not, he just decides that's the time he's going to scream about everything. So negotiating with toddlers, very much like negotiating.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Or you start off negotiations like it's someone who's mentally unstable.
Right.
Dude, like what is it? You can't reason with insanity. That's kind of how it is. But you can make something sound cohesive, and you can trick them too, or negotiate with them and make it make sense on their level. You know, like if they're compromise. Compromise is a big one, because our daughter is finally tired of taking baths, but we're like, okay, you can have naked baby time now. So she gets to run around like a free beast for like a little bit. But then we're like, haha, bath time.
Gotcha.
She's like, oh.
Oliver learned how to open doors.
That's really scary. When my daughter learns to do that,
and
one more thing to think about.
Which is crazy. It pisses me off because he is like way more mechanically inclined, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, he learns how to do things a lot easier than speaking. Like, he's good with like Legos and blocks and stuff. He can build them up and stuff, and he's really good at stuff like that, and he figures out how things work incredibly easily. And the problem is now he can just open any fucking door in our house, and like this only
his locksmithing is at 100.
Yeah, and he figured this shit out.
He put all of his points into that
a couple of days ago, and we don't have the budget to go and baby-proof every doorknob in the house right now. So we're just
he knows that too.
Yeah, and we're just
he went for you right where it hurts.
By the way, baby-proofing doesn't really work with him. I did the latches on all the drawers, and I got the adhesive ones, which now I'm realizing I might have to screw them in, but like we rent, and I don't want to put screws in all their drawers. But like, as soon as we got the adhesive ones, he figured out if he just keeps going at it, eventually he'll rip it off.
He's like me, have force.
Yeah, and he just does it. And so now he just got access to all this shit, and like he figured out where the measuring cups are. This is a perfect example. He figured out where the measuring cups are. For some reason, in his weird ass little toddler brain, every time we turn the sink on in the kitchen, he runs, grabs the measuring cup, and just holds it under the water and just dumps and holds it under the water and dumps and holds it.
He's like, add 30 ounces to the water bill. 30 ounces to the water bill.
And
this is what 30 ounces looks like.
Yeah. And the problem is, if you don't wait for him to dump it out and then turn off the water, if he's got a measuring cup of water, when you turn it off, he goes, oh, sink's done, now I'm going to take this over here and dump it on the floor.
He's like, can't dump in sink anymore.
And then he goes and he's really smart, and he goes into where our dish towels are and gets 6 towels for a tablespoon measuring cup worth of water and dirties them all up by smearing them all over the floor. And it's really smart. So you don't want to tell him, no, you can't do that. But also you're like, motherfucker, like, it costs water to make, to do a load of laundry. Like, fucking stop. But you can't tell him that because you're like, you want him to learn. Yes,
and he knows that.
This is good. And he's a terrorist.
He just wanted to play with 6 wet towels. And that was his roundabout way of doing it. And he's like, I hear my dad recording an episode about negotiation. He lost like a long time ago. I'm playing 4D chess. Yeah. He never had a chance.
And you know, I say that my oldest is this peaceful little sweet boy, but like, what if he's actually a mastermind and he's been teaching? He's like, look, if you wait to talk, they'll just have to give you.
You get more of what you want,
ask for,
because they do the law of large numbers theory, where they just throw shit at you until you're satisfied with one of them.
He's like the Dave Ramsey for toddlers. He's just like teaching. He's like, here's how I would have done things differently if I could. And he's like, what you got to do is don't talk until like 3 or 4, right? And he's like, but also, if they do something you don't like, scream and slam your head into furniture.
Yeah,
because that will make them
the snowball method
immediately.
Slam your head into increasingly harder objects until you get your desired results.
I'm so glad I didn't swallow as
That's
you
what she
said. That
said.
shit. Oh, just a little reminder that we are both men, disgusting foul beasts of men. Oh,
you lost negotiations with your oldest son too, and he's gonna walk in here and be like, Dad, I just want you to know I have 3,000 subscribers on my YouTube now.
I thought I told you it was time to get out of the studio room. I need it for my videos. Let's go.
Me and my crew that I am now paying, we have some video editing to do.
Mr. Beast walks in.
Mom said you were gonna keep your hobby to another room.
Mr. Beast walks in and he goes, hey, thanks for paying me all that console.
What's up, Lou?
He's like, Lou vs. Gaming is one of my favorite channels. I'm like, what the fuck?
Dad, you have to sign an NDA to talk to him. Can you go to another room?
Oh, I do have to. I feel bad. I actually need to edit some of my kids' clips because, again, I'm
hoping you don't, so he doesn't overtake us.
He actually doesn't
neglect his clips.
Negotiate that well because the minute he starts overtaking us is when I'm going to start putting plugs for the Toddlers podcast in his videos.
Guys, my dad wants you to watch his channel too.
Be like 30 kills. Run whole lobby brought to you by the Dad Voice Podcast.
He said he has a high kill death ratio if you look at his old account. But he doesn't have access to it anymore.
He got hacked back before he was in cybersecurity.
Yeah, when his dad worked at Bungie.
By the way, my kid doesn't actually speak with the little toddler.
Yeah, I just have to do it to make that distinction.
Right. No, it's funny because I'm just now envisioning him talking like that and how he would just get annoyed by talking like that for too long.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do this.
He'd be like, why are you making me do this? You signed a contract, son. You gotta honor contracts.
You said you were going to plug the fucking podcast. No, but I need to edit some videos for him because he's actually not that great at negotiating. After he stopped being a toddler, he just lost all his skills because he's like, hey, Dad, it's been a couple weeks. You think you could put another video out for me? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll just go through them tonight. And I have not been doing it, and I need to do it because, like, I'm fully supportive of his dream. It's just, this is a full-time job for me, editing these videos and stuff. And
yeah.
We cannot afford an editor right now. So by the way,
until AI gets good enough.
If you're
just kidding, we'll pay real people.
Yeah, we'll pay real people. Actually, I do eventually, like, I like the logo I made, but I don't want to resort to AI for a different one. So I really want to wait until we are able to accrue some funds and pay like an actual artist. And same thing with video editing. Same thing with our audio production. This was just an opportune moment to hit on that and say that, like, again, if you haven't been following us, all of what we do is DIY. This is me learning on the fly how to edit videos. This is Phil learning on the fly how to work the promotional side of things, how to plug our shit into the algorithm. Most of our text, if anybody ever got a view of those, would just be us going back and forth on ways to, like, compensate for losses in the algorithms.
Yeah, we've really gotten into this.
Yeah, like,
we just started the first episode and we were like, okay, let's talk about dad stuff. Then just derailed a bunch, and now we derail a bunch, but we're like, okay, I've got to say this one word so that the algorithm picks that up in the transcription of the audio, blah, blah, blah. Like, whoa.
We're slowly but surely, like, just like in the muted space, we're saying things like whatever the buzzwords are. Like,
literally.
NFL Sunday.
NFL Sunday Ticket.
And whatever.
NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV.
And we're plugging YouTube, so YouTube's like, yeah, we're going to push that through. Let's go ahead. It's actually smart. But we'll
see if that works.
We'll see. What we should do is save the rest of this conversation. Maybe the next episode we can do about, like, the dad nerd out kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dads do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I have several things.
You got to have something that you do.
But this happens to be our main one, I think. Not that we have time for more than one.
Yeah. Not in the slightest.
We're
back.
We're back. But I will say, I do kind of feel the pressure of talking about current events a little bit alleviated now that we started doing the Dad Blast, so it's easier for us to pull ourselves back.
Dad Blast, that's what the urologist made you do after your vasectomy, right?
That's right.
And make sure you were clean.
Dad Blast. Yeah. And they're like, was it a Dad Blast? And then you get a piece of paper that just says no Dad Blast.
He's the first patient to do 30 Dad Blasts in one sitting in my office.
By the way, if nobody has ever had the experience of a vasectomy,
here we go again.
It's relevant because we're sitting here talking about how much toddlers.
If you don't want to negotiate with toddlers, just get a vasectomy. That's the ultimate tool.
But
you win.
When you go and get,
they don't have a chance.
So I've talked about in 2 or 3 episodes about the process, right? So I'm not going to go into details about that. But the wild thing is, when you get done with your vasectomy, the doctor looks at you and he's like, you're going to go and you have to have 20 emissions. And then he's
20 dad blasts.
And 20 dad blasts. And then you're going to dad blast into this cup. And then you're going to bring it back to us and you're going to get a sperm count. And then after that, we're going to tell you what we find out. But between that time, you do 10 more and then do another dad blast into another cup. Because by that time, you should be able to get, after 30, we should be able to tell you whether or not you're still firing swimmers or not. I mean, I didn't do any of that shit, but my wife and we kind of we're like,
you got to half wing it through life. You got to make some things look effortless.
We looked at the situation and
you're like, the doctor calls the follow up. You're like, dude, I admitted, yes, we're
good. I got my 30, bro. He's like, none in the cup. Don't worry about it.
No.
But no,
just our dryer for some reason. I like the smell. Dryer sheets.
Jesus Christ. But my wife and I both kind of had this discussion where it was like, if it's fate, then you'll get pregnant if we just start doing it, and it is what it is. But I did the first 20 before we did that.
You're raffling off last chance spots to the sperm. You're like, last couple chance, last couple of missions.
But we also, like most carnival games, edged it into our favor because I did the 20 first, and then we were like, fuck it. Mostly out of convenience. I did not want to drive all the 30 minutes out of the way to the urologist's office, so I was like, fuck it. Worst case scenario, we have a third child. How much could that impact our life? You know?
You show up. You're like, Doc, this drive is so long. It's 30 minutes. I was trying to just warm up on the way, but I just can't last that long.
Oh, and they tell you
if your office was a lot closer, I'd be able to come in right, when it was time to admit.
Right. Come on, man.
I can't last the whole car ride.
He's like, we have rooms. I know, Doctor.
It's okay.
It's a slow blink.
I've got baby blinders in my car. Block out the sun.
Oh, that's going to be
every other episode we got to talk about vasectomies.
Well, and
they're funny.
They are funny.
The ultimate toddler negotiation tool. We won't derail too much. They stop the problem before it happens.
That's right.
There's your answer.
That was just a wild part of the doctors just very casually you got to shoot 20. And
they definitely teach them in medical school.
10.
They're like, you're gonna have to just say stuff like this to patients and not smirk or anything. And this is just what they actually have to do.
Dude, they're a G because the first time I went in for a consult for the vasectomy,
this is just the vasectomy podcast.
Yeah. Well. And I'll make this quick, and then we'll go back to the
it's all right. They're interesting.
But the first time I asked the lady on the phone, I was like, "Am I going to have to pull down my pants and show off the meat and veg or whatever?" And she's like, "This is just a consult. It's 15 minutes."
She's like, "I'm just the appointment."
Right? She's like, "You don't have to show me anything, sir." I'm like, "Who do I show?"
I was just giving you your MyChart login.
Sir, I don't even work for the urologist's office.
This is a pharmaceutical rep standing at the front desk.
I found my Gandalf. Sorry.
Nice.
That's a wild. We're going to do that.
Wow.
Anyways, sorry, the cat knocked him off of there. Well, I'll cut that part out.
He disappeared into the void.
He
came back as Gandalf. No, it'd be still gray.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if it was white.
I felt something in my ass and it was Gandalf. Anyways,
I heard those rumors about that actor.
I called the office and I asked them, "Hey, am I gonna have to just expose myself to the doctor? I don't care. I know that's eventually he's gonna be cutting and pulling, right? It's fine. I just needed to know because I had just gone to the gym." And she said it's a 15-minute consult. And I know that it was not.
You're just doing giggles at the gym.
I just know that whatever he experienced when I pulled down my pants wasn't the coffee and whiskey Bath and Body Works shower gel, right? It was after gym nutsack. And if you're a man, you understand that, and you understand that this guy is a fucking gangster because he did not even make a fucking facial expression. He just was like...
He does consults while he's at the gym.
Like, I full on expected him to be like, what the fuck?
Damn, son.
Like, because I just had worked out. And
who agreed to get laid with you?
He's like, you smell like a fucking dead raccoon. Get out of here. But he handled it like a G, and I was like, I just straight up looked at him and I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, they told me that I was just coming to talk to you guys, and he was like, it's all right. And he's like, I don't notice. And I was like, you're fucking gangster, dude. Like, that's awesome. But anyways, we'll get back to the toddler thing now. Yeah. If you guys want to, I could do 7 episodes on vasectomies because the shit is hilarious. But like,
we have to do 20 before we hit the right one. Which
is vasectomies part 2, part 3.
It's like the Trapped in the Closet series on YouTube. Oh, I guess that was R. Kelly.
Yeah,
another controversial person.
Well, we'll cover that on the Dad Blast.
Yeah,
he had different kinds of blasts.
Yeah, he was dad blasting the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and wrong people. So,
but yeah. So back to toddler negotiation. The quickest, easiest way is to just get a vasectomy.
Yeah,
cut it off at the head.
But so that's too easy. So we'll just talk about, I guess, actual strategies. Even if you can use actual strategies against someone who's already a bad faith negotiator in the first place, like. How do you do that?
I'll bring it back down to a serious level here for a minute because, like, there are so many little tricks that I've learned, especially because...
You can't be a good faith negotiator either.
No.
You have to use tricks.
You do, and...
It's just the way it works.
The other part of that is, like, toddlers are tricky because not everybody is... able to communicate with their toddler in the same way. And what I mean by that is, like, that tender age gap right there from like 1.5 to 3 or 4 is kids learn all kinds of different things at different paces. Perfect example that we've talked about before is your daughter walked a little bit slower than my son. My son talks a little bit slower than your daughter. Like, it's just the way they pick up things and the way that their brain processes, functions, and all that stuff. And speech therapy is helping my son.
My daughter did physical therapy, and it does. Each issue brings its own challenges. Like, for us, our daughter, she's still very clumsy. Like, she cannot walk straight. She's always falling, and she hates gravity and falling in the first place. So.
That's just toddlers.
Yeah,
they're like fucking weeble
So
wobbles.
it's like she was delayed on having her stability in walking, and then but it's a different challenge with your son because with my daughter, I'm able to just really hone in on what she needs immediately because she can get very specific now. But you still have to kind of figure out exactly what your son's asking for.
Well, and like it's wild because. My son's a toddler. He's very... all toddlers are clumsy, by the way. They're all like fucking weebles wobbles, and you smack them, but they won't fall down for long. I don't
Tell
smack
my
children.
Me neither. That wasn't a smacking my children joke.
No, it wasn't. I realized I said you smack them, but like, I don't actually smack them. But like, he'll be running around downstairs and just clip a door frame with his shoulder. And then in a couple minutes, he'll start whining, and I'll be like, oh, fuck, did he hurt himself? And then he's just bringing me his water cup. He's like, wah, wah.
He's like, no, I got over that 5 minutes ago.
He's like, I was over that before it happened.
Didn't feel a thing. I broke the wall.
And he also, like, sometimes he just understands that gestures are easier to communicate with. And by gestures, I mean he violently shoves his wah-wah cup in our face, and he's like, shakes it like a homeless person shaking a cup for change.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand that, like, and I'm saying this from total experience, you have to understand that you cannot match their energy when they do shit like that.
No.
You cannot.
Especially.
Because then you both start to unravel. What you need to do is learn the trick. Talk to your doctor, because I'm not a professional, but like or if you're with a speech therapist or a physical therapist, talk to them too. But like redirection,
big one,
is a huge one. Humor is a good one. Like a subgenre of redirection. Misdirection. You can't just like, we've had to try to like. We've tried timeout with Oliver, and it just doesn't quite work because we don't use timeout
because toddlers don't experience time.
You can't stop them mid swing and go, we have to change the play. You
can't show hesitation.
No,
fear.
They can smell it.
They can.
He views timeout as a punishment, but we don't like to use timeout as a punishment. With our oldest, we never used timeout as a punishment. We used it as a fucking timeout, right? Like, take a pause. Let's reassess the situation. He understood that. This one, Oliver does not, okay? And he'll be full-blown, running, playing, having a good time. One thing will set him, just light the fuse on the powder keg. And it just starts burning, and I can see the buildup. And it used to be like I would immediately posture up and be like, "Oh fuck," like brace myself.
Yeah.
Now I can kind of sense it, and instead of like just like bracing for impact, I'll try to get in there and flip the direction.
You got to control yourself first,
right? And control the environment.
You got to control the environment and yourself. That's just what being a mature adult is too. But it comes in handy.
It really is one of those things where you just like it takes practice. It's not something that I've ever seen anybody come out of the gate able to do. And I'm going to be honest with you, if they're a perfect dad that can do that, they're not watching this fucking podcast. That's for sure. They're like, these fucking losers.
They're shooting money guns at their children and having the time of their lives and becoming anime characters and living out their dreams.
I just bought you some North Face bed sheets. Here you go. Fucking whatever.
Feel how soft those are? A lot of people will never feel that.
Here's your Patagonia onesie. I don't know what rich people wear anymore.
Very outdoorsy.
Yeah, they are.
Rich yeah.
I've noticed because they have good health insurance.
Exotic animals won't kill themselves.
Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's not do that derailment. That sounds like a wild one that we can tangent on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that like understanding how to read the situation, understanding where it's starting to build up and when it's going to come to a head, especially like the other thing that I don't see a lot of millennials and I don't know if Gen Z has actually entered the parent space yet. I don't know, other than maybe teenagers.
I suppose they're getting there.
They're got to be close.
Good portion of them.
Not, in their early 20s, right? That's how I don't know all the years, but millennials especially, like a lot of us had our first children in that COVID era.
Things were a little different then.
I'd say so. And in that COVID era, we had these situations where we couldn't go socialize our children in the most critical periods of socialization. And
can't wait to see how that affects them down the line.
This is going to be one hell of a generation.
This is going to be a very longitudinal study. That's for sure.
But one thing I've noticed is that even post-COVID, now we're on our second child, but a lot of millennial parents, and it's bled into Gen Z, are still on that approach where they're like, I don't want my kids to be associated with other kids.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like...
that equals danger and inconvenience.
And it's just like... Also, millennials, I feel like, and I feel like I've said this before, but millennials are trapped in that mindset of, I got the internet. I can talk to everybody I need to talk to on the internet. That's the millennial equivalent to your dad's going, I got enough friends. I don't need new friends.
I can satiate my need for socialization. I'm good.
Yeah. And then
this is very authentic and genuine, and this will certainly not have any repercussions down the line.
Our kids we got to do better for them. Because, like, we talked about this in the Dad Blast or whatever, but the inability for people to functionally communicate because of what social media has done is creating this big problem where there are no more middle grounds. There's no more
peaceful debate.
Yeah,
civilized
negotiation. What
yeah, exactly. Peaceful negotiation.
Yeah.
But in that sense,
and some things you can't. Right? If someone is saying something that, like, if someone's opinion
actually threatens a group of people's livelihoods,
right? Exactly, threatens your way of life, threatens your ability to exist peacefully, or threatens your rights as a person. That's not really like an opinion anymore, right? That's a political position typically now. And everybody just flaunts that shit on the internet, and they say whatever they want to say, and they're
like, dude, my echo chamber loves me.
You're right.
That's all I need.
The one sentiment that I will always echo is freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences.
Yeah, that's always something to keep in mind.
As many times as I've smacked someone in the mouth for running their mouth to me, I've been smacked in the mouth a few times for saying some shit that was stupid. And guess what? I learned my lesson. And I don't just talk shit to people.
That's one of the most, like, dad things I believe. Also, this a little tangent, but I think every human would be more humble and better people if everyone just got their ass kicked once.
Listen,
I've had mine kicked, and
I went through a lot of my life.
Everyone needs one good ass whooping in their life.
I went through a lot of my life.
Not from a parent as a child, right, or an abusive type thing, but I mean just
I had that shit.
Lot,
I had that
fight
shit
somebody,
too.
Lose.
For some reason, it's different than when it's your parent, right?
Yeah.
Because
we're talking about just strangers that you just disagree with at a bar or something.
Yeah. And
it'll humble you.
The big guy in the room, the biggest guy typically in the room for most of my life.
Yeah, whoever kicked your ass probably got a good ego complex. Like, you made him more powerful.
And and the thing is, like, you don't know who's going to be the one to do it.
He could go Super Saiyan 4 now.
Yeah. You
turned him into an ape.
And he wasn't bigger than me. I probably had more muscle density than he did. But he was good at fucking fighting.
Limber.
And he could figure out how to put all his weight into one. And dude beat my ass. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Because first off, you've never been in a real fight if you haven't gotten your ass kicked a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is. And some dude that's like, okay, well, what about the black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu? Fuck you. Whatever. That guy's also still lost because you don't get better at fighting from winning.
He lost to another guy who studied longer.
It happens. I'm not... By the way, this isn't a campaign to go, like, teach your toddlers the roughest.
This is not related to toddler negotiation.
Don't go beat your toddler's ass.
We naturally went to violence from another topic.
Right. But we can bring it back around by saying if you teach your toddlers to communicate effectively with people by giving them examples of good, clean, effective communication, maybe they won't go run their mouth to someone who will beat the brakes off of them for being an asshole. And toddlers are assholes. You have to train it out of them. Like, and that, I feel like that's going to be the thumbnail quote.
They live just based on their id. They don't have an ego and super ego. They are just, it is literally what they need, what they can consume is,
and that's,
they don't consider any other factor.
That's got to be an evolutionary
the definition
thing.
Of an asshole.
It's got to be it's got to be an evolutionary thing though, right? Like, you have a degree in psychology. And just from a real perspective, that has to be something that kept us alive as human beings.
Yeah.
Because a toddler is still, and if you think about when humans were roving packs of Neanderthal, well, humans weren't Neanderthals, different thing. But when humans were in their primal stages and they were in these packs of nomadic groups, or before they started to kind of like sit into one place, a toddler is going to have, like, the only thing that they're able to do is communicate to you what they need in the most effective way possible. That's pointing, screaming, grunting. You don't give them what they want, they scream. That's, if you go and you pet a dog too aggressively, or you go and try to take a dog's food before they're done eating, what do? They growl at you.
Yeah.
It's an animalistic instinct. And so you have to understand that
toddlers are animals and assholes.
The wild thornberries did it with Donnie. You can do it with your toddler. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say.
They did it in a confined space, living out of that bus van thing, too.
The RV. And Nigel's nose took up most of the space. But you have to understand that it is, without like minimizing toddlers to animals, it is their most primal instinct to fight for whatever they need right then and there. They live a much more luxurious life than our predecessors did, right? Like there's not like, if I don't eat, I die, and then, you know, the bloodline ends with me kind of thing, unless my parents reproduce.
It just shows that parents over thousands of generations have always been forgetful and not paid attention to kids sometimes, because sometimes they got to try and let you know on their own.
Right.
Just like when my daughter was like, I'm signing more.
Hello. Okay. And as they learn to talk, it's a lot easier. And then they'll hit a point where they can get their own shit. And Luca, like, now he pours his own drinks. We used to have a mini fridge in this room, and I moved it into his room, and I put some drinks.
Just picturing him with like a shaker, get a cocktail.
I moved the mini fridge into his room so he can have some drinks upstairs. I don't let him take too much up there because he is 8 and
it's tempting, oversupply.
Yeah, well, he's a pretty clean kid, but he's also a child, so like, you know, don't give your kids too much leeway. But it is more important with toddlers to just like drive home in the most peaceful way possible. This is not how, and it's okay to sit there and go, I'm not going to react to the way you're talking to me, or I'm not going to react to you acting that way. You don't scream at me. We don't fling ourselves into, you know, a glass window, because that's not going to get the response. And it works, because once I kind of leveled my head and started dealing with Oliver in that way, and going, pause. Like, I was saying stop, and he started associating stop with bad and negative connotation. So I stopped saying stop, because I noticed that would set him off. But like, now I'll say, okay, let's pause. And I'll say, you can't act that way. You can't do that. And then he realizes, okay, well, communication has shut down. And then that's when and doctors, therapists will tell you it's okay, if they're mid-tantrum, to walk away from it. If you try your redirection, if you try your communication skills and it's not working and they're full swing tantrum, you can walk the fuck away from it.
You go straight to abandonment.
Right. Immediate.
A healthy dose of abandonment.
Right.
Is what I would say.
Well, and it stops being abandonment at that point, because you've already tried.
Yeah.
You've made your effort to do what you can for them. They don't want your help, and they're making it very
it's
abundantly
like
clear.
With interventions and such, like, you gotta stop enabling them at some point. You have the family member who is given the addict money, or sometimes the toddlers have to feel the consequences too.
Yeah.
It can't be empty threats all the time.
It works, because I will tell you right now that since I started doing that, he pulls himself out of a tantrum so much quicker now. And then he'll let me know. He can't talk and say, I feel better, but he'll come up to me and he'll close his hands together and he'll smile, and I'll go, do you feel better now? And then I always put my hands out to hug him and let him know, I'm still here for you. There was never a moment where I wasn't, but now that you're willing to communicate, come here, let's talk about this and let's figure it out. And then I help him find out what we need to get him to make him happy and go from there. And like, even if I don't have what I can provide, like what he wants, and I can't provide it for him, it still creates a better environment for me to approach that. And you approaching it while they're mid-tantrum, while they're screaming, having a fucking breakdown, it just doesn't work. It doesn't. And it's not good for them. It's not good for you. And you allowing yourself to get submerged in that murky water is only reinforcing the idea in your head that we just throw all communication skills out the window. And we can't do that. It just doesn't work.
Period.
Anyways, now that I got all super serial
Yeah.
with my dad perspective on things, we got we got about 10 minutes left. So is there anything you want to, any closing remarks before we give our spiels and close this episode out?
Well, we gave advice, but I think you got to put in perspective the reality of you're never going to actually win negotiations with a toddler.
Right.
Without redirecting them or, doing some kind of trick. So I guess it's just not really negotiations.
Well, and that's the whole thing.
You got to play mind games.
You got to.
Sorry.
It's
dad hack.
dad hack. Manipulate. We approach everything in terms of conflict as a point versus point, right? Like that's same thing we've been talking about on the internet and everything like that. And it just doesn't work that way for toddlers. It's
a whole different game.
What you're doing is trying to go point for point, and they're going, my point, shut up, figure it out for me. And
my point, why are you not giving me my point?
Right. And it's just a different game. And my wife, by the way, Lauren, is a fucking saint. Okay? She is so good at it. She will, I rarely ever hear her raise her voice, but when she does, it's not even like really snappy or yelly. She'll be like, stop it. Like very firm.
She saves it all for just like the perfect moment.
Right.
It's a timing thing.
But I will tell you right now, like she has a more effective mom voice than my dad voice when it comes to the baby.
It means
because
more.
It does. It rattles him because he's like,
that's how you know you fucked up.
The peaceful parent went up an octave? Yeah. Holy shit. But she...
I'll be darned. Life does have consequences.
The whole point of saying all that is if you notice that your partner is the other parent, or if you're a single parent and you notice that your kids respond better to someone else in your life than they do you when in similar situations, take note of what the other person is doing.
You're allowed to cheat in negotiations and bring in extra help.
Yeah, bring in your legal team.
You can do that. You're an adult. You can do what you want.
Right. Bring in your legal team. You know more than they do. They just don't acknowledge that because they're toddlers and they don't have to. Fuck it. You know what I mean? But take notes from the people around you that seem to handle the situations better. And I say that sometimes... And because I know somebody's probably going to hear that and go, well, that's not really fair because my kid always puts on a different face for mom than they do for dad, or, for grandparent than they do for dad, or whatever. And that's fine. Kids are like that. But what you want to do is try to take what does work and apply it in the best way you can to your interactions with them. Sometimes it won't work because toddlers are terrorists, but where you can get it to work, bad faith negotiators, but where you can get it to work, make it work. You can twist the game however you want to, as long as you're not causing trauma, I think is the moral of the story. Yeah,
that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Use whatever tactics you can without doing war crimes, basically.
Exactly. And the entire metaphor of toddlers to terrorists has just stayed true this entire episode.
We just live in a military-industrial complex. It clicks for everybody.
Everybody gets it, we're about there. So we'll go ahead and wrap some things up here. But hey, listen, we have only gotten 2 dad advices. I would like to get some more because those also help us kind of figure out how we're going to shape episodes and stuff. So if you have a dad advice request, if you want us to talk about something, if you have a question or something you'd like to address, we've done 2 of them, and I think those were some of our most fun episodes.
Yeah, they were about real life stuff.
Real life shit, and I still stand on business when it comes to pediatric dentistry. It's a racket.
Yeah.
Anyways, send us an email at thedadvoicepod at gmail.com and subject line dad advice. Ask us what question you want to ask, or have us talk about something, or just kind of like if it's something that you haven't heard anybody talk about but you want us to talk about it, even if we don't know, if you get it into us with enough time, that gives us time to look into it, and we'll do the research.
We'll look
into
for you.
It. Yeah, we'll do the research for you, and we'll give you a researched episode and a researched response. But even if you just have a question, like I know we did a whole episode on socializing and how to, not become some
guys with a podcast who are sitting in the room hanging out.
Some Ruby Ridge type shit.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, we talked about pediatric dentistry. I'd love to talk about more things. I'd love to help, especially if you're a newer parent, if this is your first go on this shit and you haven't had an opportunity to ask people questions that you want to ask.
Who are not AI.
Right.
Or just Google.
And if you feel like it's something embarrassing that you don't really want like people to know you asked that question, just put in the email that you want to stay anonymous, and we'll
just say that it happened to Cole.
Yeah, I don't care. I fuck up all the time. I have no problems admitting that. Aside from that, though, again, and that's thedadvoicepod@gmail.com, subject line dadvice. If you want to remain anonymous and you want to ask a question that you feel is just something you don't want people to know when you asked, or whatever reason you might have for anonymity, whatever. Just put that in the email. It'll be fine. Follow us on all of our socials at the Dad Voice Pod everywhere. If you're this deep in, you obviously like what we got to say. You're obviously invested in some degree. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Comment down below and tell us things that you think we're getting wrong and you think we're doing right. Tell us things that make you laugh, because all that engagement is helping us reach a bigger audience, which gives us more people to interact with, which gives us more ideas and more ways to approach this.
More fun to be had.
More fun to be had. And we're having a blast, by the way. I really, I love doing this each week. So.
I know. This is my hobby.
Yeah.
I don't make beer at home. I'm not that guy. I'm a podcaster.
What a way to go.
Found my thing.
What a way to go. All of our socials are going to be at the thing on the outro, so make sure to check those out. If you don't have time to watch full episodes, we started a shorter form thing with the Dad Blast, but we also do podcast shorts. So if you want to see the highlights from our episodes, go check out our shorts tab. Podcast shorts everywhere.
We completely understand if you got attention span problems.
Trust us.
Firsthand.
That's what we do. We're the ADH dads. So
we're the abled podcast.
The abled podcast. But yeah, just however you want to consume it, anything always helps, and we love the support, and we love, by the way, the engagement. So comments are fun for us. We love to, even if you're talking shit, it's still fun for us to just get to shoot the shit with the people that are viewing our stuff. Anyways, I think I've gabbed enough, done enough calls to action, so we'll close it up.
The actions have been called.
All right.
Wrap it.
Let's wrap it. See you guys on the next episode.
Goodbye.